the school community council, which the parents and community members. So I think, that's the law. You got to spend 70% locally, principal in consultation with the FCC. That's pretty powerful.
Okay. All right, one more question, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Brian Boldulik, elementary school teacher over Waimea Elementary. Senator, one of your first questions, you used the term dysfunctional, and that concerns me quite a bit when it comes to saying that there's dysfunction with the superintendent and the principal, because it reflects on me also, because I fall under that umbrella. I'm wondering how you come to that conclusion of dysfunction. Does that come from looking at data? Does that come from an individual? Does it come from hearsay or petition from a former employee? Because it's hard for me to see that dysfunction being within the school itself, and also have an invested interest due to the fact that I have 2 children that attend that school and they receive a great education at Waimea Elementary School. So I'm hoping you're not talking about Waimea Elementary School.
No, I'm talking about it in a generic sense, because a lot of the community wants to know statewide now, how do parents, and you brought it up, because we had empowered the community. So we have a school community-based management. Is that the correct word? I mean, it's changed so many times. And you're supposed to be working in conjunction with your principal to be able to put your curriculum and your educational package together. If you have a situation in any kind of educational environment where there seems to be a disagreement within the school itself, how is that settled? So I think he did a great job in explaining, how it's done. So I guess the decision rests with the superintendent of the public schools, which is Catherine Mariushi. And I just want you to understand, the bureaucracy is separate from the teacher. Okay, this is the way the system has evolved. And this is a governance question that we are going to be looking at this coming legislative session. Because what has happened in the DOE system, and I feel very strongly about it, is that we have a heavy bureaucratic system now, where a lot of our resources are up there in the administration. And those monies are not filtering down in an equitable fashion to the student. Because the whole purpose of education, your client is the student. And this is where we're at now. We're dealing with now 3 unions, UPW, HTA, HSTA, and the list kind of goes on and on. Now, HTA has a whole different parameter as to how they negotiate their settlements for the administration as compared to HSTA. So these are the kinds of policy decisions, and this is why I feel that the legislature has to become more proactive in trying to resolve these governance questions of our public school. And these thoughts were the genesis of the charter schools. That's why we have charter schools in Hawaii today, because of community dissatisfaction with the way how the DOE was managing the public school systems in Hawaii. Yeah, that's the bottom line. So in other words, at least the Hawaii State Legislature had the courage to enact this legislation. Now it's a question in terms of policy as to how we're going to implement to give it equity right across the board. But this is why you have the charter schools. Because it got to the point in the legislature where the Senate kind of felt, gee, we don't have power. Yet we're spending $2 million of your taxpayer money and educating how many students statewide?
A little less than 180,000.
A little less than 180,000 students, and we're spending $2 billion? How much does that prorate per student? What, $100,000+ per student? You know, I don't have to tell you, look at all our scores. Look where we're at, where something is dysfunctional. Whether it's the teacher, whether it's the community, whether it's the superintendent, but my job as your senator is to try to find out what is going on and fix it. Because who's suffering in all of this? Tell me.
The children.
Who? Our future.
Yeah.
Our future. This is the first time in Hawaii where they canvassed all the seniors, where they said they don't look to Hawaii as their future.
Right.
This is what we've worked for in this community our whole life? Sacrifice and work for? So our young people leave Hawaii because they don't see this as a land of opportunity for them? And where does that begin? Where do you feel empowered? Where do you get your self-esteem? Where do you feel that you're worthy? Where does that start? In the home and in the school. Something is amiss. And this is why we have an appointed school board now. To give us more flexibility to get in there and find out what is the problem. And I want to tell all of you, I'm not going to let anybody or anyone stand in my way to get at the root of what is going on. That is my commitment. I'm an educator. I have a doctorate degree in education administration. So I know what I'm talking about. And if I feel that there's a principal that's dysfunctional, they should be removed. Because you are not doing any service to anyone. If there's a dysfunctional superintendent, they should be removed. Why do I say that? Because I've done it in my career. I'm the only state senator. I dismissed 2 department heads, and one of them was the head of the public schools. And the other one was the head of the University of Hawaii. So this is how committed I am. You know, to getting our educational system back on track. My priority is how we're going to deal with all the Marshallese and all the Micronesian that are coming to this day. I spoke to the governor. It's costing us $300 million. State monies, we're not getting any reimbursements. Waimea School is under a lot of duress. You know, and I'm not saying anything negative about them. They just have a lot of special needs. You know, and we have to provide those services. Have you discussed that? That's my last question.
Senator, please
No.
celebrate the positive things that happened. Like HSA scores for us, across the board, they all went up. So celebrate the positive things that
I do all the time. That's what keeps me motivated and going.
And recognize
But
that
I want it
it's
better.
hard to fix.
Okay, come on, please. Go up.
Well, the answer to the senator's question is no. We haven't really looked into that.
Okay.
And I do want to say that I thought I was trying to emphasize early on that there are a lot of successes in our school, that it takes everybody's effort pulling together in order to ensure that there's student achievement. Our motto of the appointed board is student achievement is our major objective. That's basically, we want all our decisions to be based on student achievement.
And rightfully so.
And when we take a vote on any matter, when we discuss major issues, the focus is how does this help student achievement. When we voted for the Common Core standards, which means an A in Hawaii or proficiency in Hawaii, that student will earn in Hawaii. That score is equivalent to proficiency in any other state that adopted the Common Core. Our standards are high. When standards are set at a high level, students achieve at a high level. And it's our belief that students in Hawaii are capable of achieving at a high level because every year we have graduates that attend the top universities in the nation, succeed, and return to our community. So there's a lot to be happy about. There's a lot of student achievement that occurs throughout our schools. The truth of the matter is, if it wasn't for dedicated teachers, dedicated principals, and dedicated parents, coaches, grandparents, people, these students would not achieve the success they achieved. Those students that are not achieving, why aren't they achieving? A lot of times it's absenteeism, dysfunction in their home, so on and so forth. And it takes good motivation by positive people to make these students achieve. I really appreciate the invitation. I'd be happy to hang around and talk story with any of you after.
Thank you. How about a nice hand